everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Chrissy. So I thought I'd put together a list of 5 women in books, female characters, who would beat me up, but if I could, I would befriend them. That's the list. We're going with it. So the first one is Dr. Gillian Toth. She is a character of in Into the Drowning Deep by Myra Grant, aka Shannon McGuire, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. I have a feeling I'm going to be pronouncing names incorrectly throughout this whole video. My apologies already. Into the Drowning Deep is a book set before Rolling into the Deep. Rolling into the Deep was a prequel to this. It was kind of like a novella, and it was about a ship that goes out, gets attacked by mermaids, and I don't think there's any survivors. The Navy does find the ship afterwards, and Into the Drowning Deep takes place years after that. So Into the Drowning Deep has a whole bunch of scientists going out to find mermaids. Dr. Gillian Toth is one of them. She knows mermaids exist, and she's pretty sure everyone's going to get eaten on this voyage if they do find mermaids, but she goes anyway. So, does that make her brave? Foolish? Anyway, she's very a strong character. She is very knowledgeable, very capable, and she intimidates everyone. She's just a really cool character. And also she's managing to deal with not only going out knowing that mermaids exist and mermaids will probably kill them all, she's also has her ex-husband on the boat with her and dealing with that nonsense and dealing with it with insults, really. I was gonna say with grace. It's not with grace. It's with insults and snarky comments. But I love it. The second character is Mishima. She is in the book Infomocracy. That's what we're calling it. Mishima works for this kind of corporation. I don't know if it's corporation. It's like a bureau called Information. I am not the best with sorting out all these things, especially in books that have very complex governmental works, and that is what Infomocracy is all about, really. It's all these micro-governments, so governments that, I don't want to say rule over, because it depends on, I guess, the government, but governments that govern 100,000 people in 100,000 people increments, so throughout the world, everyone is set in 100,000 people increments, and the government, micro-government will rule over there, and like micro-governments can rule in 100,000 people little box over in the US, and then they can also in Japan and in China, as long as enough people vote for them. So that's kind of the premise throughout. Information is, think if the internet became just one corporation of getting information out to the people. So their main thing is transparency, to make sure that people are not breaking the laws, and to make sure that people, and when I mean people breaking laws, I mean governments breaking the law, especially around election time. So that's kind of their whole shtick. Mishima works for Information, and she takes a whole lot of different roles. In fact, at one point she's like working at kind of security. At another point she's working to make sure that information is not down and unavailable to the people. She's making sure it is available to everyone when it does go down. So all these things she's doing, and then she's also trying to make sure that no one's cheating in the election results that's going on. So she does a lot of stuff. She's a very capable person. What I like most about Mishima, though, is that she is not afraid to get down and dirty and stab a fool with a high heel. The third person on my list is Emery. She is in the book Implanted. She is the main character. It is set from her point of view. The first couple of chapters really get into who Emery is as a person, and not just because it's first person, but so in like the first chapter, she's going after someone who is similar to someone who hurt her in the past. So in this world, people live under domes, and they have implants in their neck, so hence implanted. They have implants in their neck that allow them to look at like the internet and look at social media, that kind of thing, except for I think they call it something a little bit different, but they're able to keep in contact with everyone. They're able to play games on it and all that other kind of stuff. So pretty much if Google Glass had turned into an implant and worked out for everybody. But Emery is this character who, in her past, someone tried to take her implant by force. She kind of made it her life's mission in the first couple of chapters to hunt people down who did those kind of things. So the first chapter is pretty much like her stalking this guy who is known to her to try and steal chips from the back of necks of other people and all that kind of thing. How she does this, how she trains for this, is she actually does kind of virtual reality training on fighting, on like shooting games and all that kind of stuff. So she trains to be able to do these kind of things, which works out for her later on when she's recruited by Aventine, which is a company that kind of sells its services to different businesses in order for them to transfer data through people's bloodstream. And then that is what Emery does through the rest of the book. And then there's other things that happen, but she's an extremely capable person. She's kind of like, I look at her training through VR, and I just think that's a really neat idea, and she's very dedicated. She has a really strong moral compass, so she knows the difference between right and wrong. She's also, I think, supposed to be on the slightly smaller side, so she's a small, angry person who can beat others up, along with being able to escape when she needs to. The fourth person on my list is Sapphire from the Firekeeper series. So the first one is Through Wolf's Eyes or something along those lines. But it's the Firekeeper series by Jane Linskold. And Sapphire is not one of the main characters. She's actually kind of a side character, and she was only in like 2 of the books I've read so far. I've only read up the first 4 of the books, and I think right now there's 6 in total. Six, I don't know, but there's 6 in total, and she's an interesting character because Sapphire is a great character because, one, she's ambitious, she knows what she wants to be ruler, but at the same time she's not afraid to get into battle with everyone else. When she does start going into battle, I think this is in the second book, she starts fighting and everything, and she's leading troops, and she manages to get the respect of the troops because, unlike a lot of others who kind of sit back and let other people fight, she's down and dirty with them, and that's really takes a lot of guts. Also, she's kind of off-putting to other characters, and I don't know what it is about that makes a character endearing to me, because Dr. Toth is like that. Emery kind of, sort of, is like that. She's a little bit abrupt. She's a little bit off-putting to some people, not to everyone. But she's kind of snarky and kind of, you know, sarcastic, if one may say. But Sapphire is off-putting because, you know, she's a very strong, opinionated person. So she has ideas on what she thinks should be done and fights for kind of what that is. She also is a little bit controlling over certain decisions that get made later on. But I really like that in the character. I like that she is willing to fight, and at the same time she's willing to play the mental games in order to get where she wants to go. She's also pretty kind-hearted. She really does care about the people around her, and sometimes that doesn't come across very well, but she does, and it's really nice to be able to see someone who's ambitious but is still caring, because I think sometimes in a lot of books and a lot of stories that you see, if someone has ambition, they're kind of just written off as cold-hearted and not really deserving of the love at all. Okay, and the 5th person on this list is Kaz from Daughter of Kali Awakening, and I'm definitely going to butcher this name, Shiuli Ghosh? I'll put it in the description down below. Kaz is the main character of this book. I would put this, wrote a review about this quite a month or 2 ago on my site, thereturncart.com. And Kaz, the whole book reminds me of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Kaz is a fairly typical teenage gal, but she is very athletic, she's very sporty, she's kind of that tomboy without being full hating of girl stuff. She likes to dress up, and she likes to be pretty and all those other things too, and she's just throughout the book, like for the first half of the book, you get the feeling that she's just kind of that typical complaining, kind of sour character who happens to be a teenager. But later on, she really does try. She tries to be a good friend, and she tries to be a good daughter. When things happen to her friend and to her mother, she does her best to be there for them, and she does her best to look out for them as she can. So that's ultimately why I like Cause. Also, she is, like the others, kind of snarky and a little bit mean sometimes, but I like those of my characters, that they're not all the time nice, especially when they're put into stressful situations. We're not all the time nice when we're put into stress situations, and I think that's okay. I think that's understandable. Now, for the most part, a lot of these characters, like Cause and Emery too, to an extent, will look back on if they say something mean or something snide to someone, and they'll feel kind of bad about it, and they'll try and make it right. Dr. Toth won't do that. Mishima kind of does that later on after she stabs someone with a high heel, but you get where I'm going with this. They're lovely people. So a couple of honorable mentions. Let me get my... Okay, some honorable mentions. Jack from Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shannon McGuire. So she's been up there on my author list lately, and I've been liking a lot of the things she writes. There's also Firekeeper herself in the Firekeeper series by Jane Linskold. Firekeeper is just such a funny character. She was raised by wolves. I know that sounds really odd. The book series is really good, and I think they managed to make it very intriguing and pretty unique. But Firekeeper is also a very fast learner, and when she does get kind of reintegrated into society, she of course always has that bit of wolf in her. In fact, she is pretty much a wolf, just in human clothing. Then there's Citra from Scythe by Neil Shusterman. Citra's just a bad bee. Citra's just a really awesome character. She's very knowledgeable. She also has a very high moral compass, and she's very cool as well. Then there's also Constance Verity from The Last Adventure of Constance Verity by Ailey Martinez. She is the main character. She has been gifted by always being a hero, so she's destined for greatness always. She's always going through adventures like every day. She gets tired of it, and she wants to make it stop. She just wants a normal life, so she goes after her fairy godmother, who gave her this gift to kill her. But it is a very funny book. I love A. Lee Martinez's work. I read his stuff a lot. And Constance Verity is a series that I am happy exists. And the last character is Marion Alston from the book Island in the Sea of Time, and I could not remember that off the top of my head, but that is by S.M. Sterling. I believe that is the first in like the Change series. I don't know if it's officially part of the Change series. I don't know. I don't think it is. It might be. I don't know. But she is a naval, kind of naval captain. Is she part of the Coast Guard? These are the few things I forget. But she ends up being a captain of this boat called the Eagle, and the people of Nantucket, the island of Nantucket, get transported back into the Bronze Age. And Marion is awesome through this. She keeps calm. She manages to win the fights that need to be fought, and all these other kind of things. She's also like a karate master, and yeah, she's a cool character. I like them all. But that's my list of characters who could beat me up, but who I would like to be friends with. If you like this video, please click that like button and click that subscribe button if you want to keep seeing this face. I think I just heard like a lot of windows close off all at once. But hit that subscribe if you want to see more videos. Thank you and have a nice day.